Instagram.
Oh, no, it's okay.
Oh my goodness, there's like a fly in my office and it's driving me nuts. It keeps zooming past my microphone and I'm hearing it in like HD and I'm like, oh.
Oh, no.
All right, so I think we should be live. All right, so
Okay.
hey everybody, welcome to another episode of the Ghoul Friend Hour. I'm your host, your ghost host, Morgan Feza, and tonight we have another super kick-ass guest. We have Miss Jess Angel joining us. Thank you so much for coming on, Jess.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to pass the torch to you and let you introduce yourself to everyone.
Okay. My name is Jess Angel. I'm a model, actress, and paranormal investigator, and um, used to live in Pennsylvania. Now I reside in Las Vegas, and been out here about 11 years, and had some interesting experiences along the way, and here to tell my stories and share.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought it was really neat. So we connected via Threads. Threads has been just super awesome
Yes.
about, finding kind of just like your tribe of people, like just find everybody that kind of has similar interests. And so I've really enjoyed that. So I thought it was really cool when we connected and you were talking a little bit about your background. And so when you said Las Vegas, Nevada, I was like, oh my gosh, that's like the epicenter for not only just spirits and stuff like that, but aliens and cryptids and everything really under the sun. I feel like there's a good mix of everything there. So like I thought that was really cool. So were you an investigator? Like, well, I guess we should start at the beginning. How did what came first, the chicken or the egg? Were you did you decide to be an investigator and then it just kind of trickled into modeling and a little of this and a little of that, or did you do the modeling? And so tell us like where you started, like what started all of this and what did it what did it lead to where you are now?
Um, I actually started off with modeling and acting first. I was about 16.
Okay.
And the paranormal, I want to start it a little bit earlier. Like, I've always been so fascinated with spirits and the paranormal and experiences and abandoned places. So I think I want to say, um, like, I was really young into that, but then it just kind of, like, the modeling started and the acting started, and then that led to being a paranormal investigator in Gettysburg in my my late 20s. Yeah, late
Cool.
20s.
Cool. And Gettysburg is another we've talked about it so many times on the podcast. We had Mark Nesbitt on here too.
Oh, you
Um
do? Oh my
yeah.
goodness, that's awesome.
I've been a huge Mark Nesbitt fan since we've started going to Gettysburg. I met my husband in 2016, and one of our second trips together was he had always talked about how much he wanted to go to Gettysburg and he had never been. So I booked like a surprise little getaway, and he was enamored. And ever since then, that's kind of like our play, like our little happy place. Like whenever we want to run away somewhere and just kind of get away for a little bit, Gettysburg is always the hot spot. And he's more the history, I'm all paranormal. So I feel like
Same.
it has a little, yeah, it has a little bit for everybody, But so
Yeah.
what was that like? What was that like being a paranormal investigator in Gettysburg?
It was definitely interesting, and man, I don't even know where to begin on that subject. Like, as soon as you enter Gettysburg, like, you can just feel it, like the tense, like, just a lot of tension, and just because I'm an empath too, so I can feel it a lot too. It's like, as soon as you hit Gettysburg, it's like, oh my goodness. But it was definitely challenging and interesting at the same time, being a investigator in Gettysburg, because we had so many different things going on and challenges. It was definitely, I would do it again in a heartbeat. I loved
Awesome.
it.
So do you have any profound kind of paranormal experiences that kind of stood out to you a little bit during your time in Gettysburg as an investigator?
Not per se in Gettysburg, but I have one on my own, actually. It was definitely an experience. It was more so like like I was hanging out with my exes, and then my ex, and that's when it happened, actually. Um, I don't know if I have time to talk about it or if I should.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Anything goes. Yeah. So we would love to hear about it.
Okay, so I want to say I was in my late 20s, and I was living with my ex and the grandparents, and I was getting ready to go to bed. I turned off all the lights and everything, and they have an old clock in their kitchen. It was actually transported from a boat, I want to say the early 1900s or late 1800s, I believe. And I saw, and I was just like, am I dreaming? I saw this spirit walk into the kitchen, and he was very transparent, very clear. He had on overalls, his hair was slicked back, he had glasses, and he was just walking into the kitchen. He was see-through, and I'm like, and I thought it was her grandfather, because her grandfather, sometimes he'll hang out in the kitchen too, and they look very similar. And I go back upstairs, getting ready to go to bed, and her grandpa is snoring. And next thing you know, here it was actually her great grandfather that passed away. This was years ago, and somehow is attached to that clock for some reason. But it
Oh.
wasn't threatening though, but it was definitely interesting.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think any kind of full body apparition, I mean, that's really
Yeah.
profound, and I feel like when we're looking for that tangible proof of the afterlife, being able to I mean, I think that's every investigator's like hope is to see a manifestation of a full body apparition. So I think that's really, really cool.
Thank you. Yeah, it was definitely something I was not expecting, and it just kind of happened. I was like, okay, this is different, but it was like I was curious to know what he was so like. At the time, I wasn't thinking about it. I was like, okay, it must be the clock, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So, probably what is one of your favorite places in Gettysburg to visit for investigations?
The battlefield, definitely. And the Jenny Wade house.
Yeah. I don't know if you've ever stayed at the 1863. It's like right next it's
No,
the hotel right next to the Jenny Wade house.
I haven't stayed there, no.
It's probably our favorite, like, little mom and pop hotel. It's family owned, family run, and it's literally like we've had hotel rooms all over that place because it's usually where we stay. And our most recent trip, it was really cool because we got to stay in the rooms that were facing out towards town, not facing the battlefield, and all the way down next to the Jenny Wade house. So it was kind of cool because at nighttime when we would stand on the balcony, you could literally like throw a penny onto the roof of the Jenny Wade house because it's right there. And
Wow.
there's definitely some spooky stuff. We've had we don't really know how to explain it, and could there be debunkable explanations? Absolutely. But the 1863 has had some really good, not scary, like, energy there. Like, definitely some, waking up and seeing something and then kind of being like, huh, and then it's not there anymore, and you're like, I definitely saw somebody. So if you ever
Yeah.
get the chance, you should definitely stay there. I don't know about the Gettysburg Hotel, but that we left in the middle of the night from there because that was. I don't know if you've ever stayed there, but there's a lot going on there, and there's definitely something a little bit. I think it was a mimic, honestly. But that place is flooded with just stuff going on. So some really cool places. If you go back and, decide to stay, sometime soon, definitely two really good spots.
You'll have to check that place out for
Yeah,
sure.
absolutely. So let's get into, Nevada. Let's chat about that a little bit.
Okay.
So what was life, are you currently there?
Yes, I'm currently in Nevada. I'm sorry, my cat keeps trying to get in here.
Oh, you're totally fine.
Okay.
I'm over here and I'm like, it's itching me not to take this fly out with a t-shirt. I'm like, "Oh my gosh." Um, but yeah, so, just see, that's what I'm talking about. It keeps hitting me in the head, and I'm like, it's because I have all my lights in my office off, and I have my ring light on, and I'm like, it just keeps flying right in here, and I'm like, gosh. But yeah, so tell us a little bit about Nevada. I mean, what I guess drew you to that location to kind of live there, and then what have you found while living there?
Okay, well, long story short, I came out here for love. Didn't work out, but I actually ended up moving forward and found the love of my life. And
It was meant to
they,
be then.
yeah, it was definitely meant to be. So, and I want to say there's a couple places in Nevada that were spooky and definitely had some experiences. Also in Arizona as well, there's a lot of paranormal experiences too. But the one place that was probably the most experience was actually, I don't know if you've heard of Don Wildman, The Mysteries of the Museum
I feel
show.
like I've heard of it. Yeah.
Okay. Well, I got featured to be on their show for Area 51. And we went up there. It was about 2 hours there. And, they talk about certain things that happened and UFOs and things like that. And they have a little like alien shop. And it was actually really interesting, but definitely an experience. Didn't really find anything there, but just to be on the show and talk about my experience. It didn't happen in Nevada. It was in Pennsylvania, but it was something really cool. Um, I'm sorry, I'm like going way over my head.
Oh, you're totally fine.
Okay. And I want to say here in Nevada, I love the beauty here, and I call this is pretty much my home now. And the one place that I did a while back, it was like a bed and breakfast. I think it was closer to Arizona, and I was with my paranormal team at the time. And what had happened was I felt like somebody was like choking, and I just kept feeling it, and someone like constantly pinching me, and they were doing a live, and I was telling my the other paranormal investigator, I was like, hey, I said, we need to stop the show. I said, because I feel like I'm getting choked out and pinched. And here, I guess what happened was um, the husband actually had choked out his wife, and that's actually I guess that's how she passed away or how she died. Her spirit still haunted there, and so did the husband. And it was definitely interesting because I was feeling all that, and I was just like, wow, this is real. I mean, this is real. Some people don't believe in that, but I was like, it was definitely interesting and an experience.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we definitely believe it. It's funny because uh when we went to my haunted manor here in Columbia, PA, one of the most intriguing things is I've been sensitive since I was a little girl, and um I had finally this was like my first actual investigation, and um it wasn't like the sensation of choking, but it was before we had even gotten there. I had warning dreams. My grandmother came to me, and she doesn't ever come to me unless like she's like, "Girl, what's that famous line?" She's like, "Girl, you in danger." Like she's like, "You need to be careful." Um so yeah, so I had like a lot of feelings about this place, and as we were driving there, my voice was perfectly fine. Everything was fine. Get I call it the threshold, but there's a giant bridge that I don't know, there's an energy to it. So when you go under it, it almost feels like you just cross into like a portal. So the minute you go under that bridge, everything changes. The energy changes. My whole body was like vibrating. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is all hallowed ground. There's like, excuse my language, I'm like, there's shit everywhere. Like, I'm like, I don't know what this is about. So went into it completely blind. And it felt like somebody had the easiest way I can describe it is it felt like somebody had put clamps on one vocal cord. It was not like this or like I could tell you exactly where my vocal cord was because I could feel it. And it was the craziest sensation. So like I 1,000 the reason why I'm talking about this and I'm telling you is because I 1,000% believe that. And I know that that's such a scary sensation to feel because when it was happening, I was like, oh my gosh. Like, I'm like, should I just like leave? Like in my head, I was like, maybe this is a foreboding. This is like an omen. Like, maybe I should just turn my car around and we go back under that bridge and reverse all of this. Reverse Uno, because I'm out of here. And so, like, I can't imagine feeling somebody, full on pinching and choking. Like that would, I feel like that would startle me quite a bit.
That is scary. Yeah, that was a little scary, man. I was not expecting that. It was like, oh.
Yeah. And did you feel like energy wise, besides like the physical interaction, did you feel like the energy shift? Like was it heavy? Was it sad? What did you kind of feel as an empath, besides like the physical aspects?
um, I felt really just like drained and also sad and angry at the same time when that was happening.
Yeah.
Um, just definitely an experience. I'll just, man, I won't
Yeah.
ever forget that one. And there was another time we were in Las Vegas. We were doing, when I was still in the paranormal team, we were doing like a local, like a home visit,
Hmm.
and I was channeling, and they wanted to know what was going on in their home and this and that. And here, I just kept getting a lot of pain in my left ear. And I was like, oh, I think he was shot. I'm pretty sure he was shot, and I kept feeling the pain, and it was just unbearable pain in my ear. And then also I was telling them, I said, was he in a mob? This person, was he dressed in white? Did he have a white hat? And then right after that, they showed me a picture. The guy was dressed in a white hat, white suit, and he was in the mafia, and he got shot. I think it was left ear. I was like, wow. I said, yeah, I
What?
was feeling that. Yeah. I said, I just kept feeling it in my ears. Like he got shot in his ear. He was wearing a white like suit and a white hat, and he was in like the mafia. And I said, yeah, he's telling me that he got shot in this ear. And I told him that, and then that was the end of the investigation.
Yeah,
That one,
absolutely.
it just felt like a lot of pain, like very depressed, I want to say.
That sucks. I feel like that's like the worst case scenario for any kind of death. Like I just feel like we all have this idea of like transitioning into the afterlife and it being completely like peaceful and pain-free, and it's so sad that that's not the case for some people. Especially like I do feel like, and I'd love to get your take on this. Um I feel like when you look at a lot of older cases and like hauntings and stuff like that, a lot of it is really like powerful residual energy due to traumatic circumstances. Like I know that there's hauntings everywhere for all different kinds of reasons, but I feel like a lot of hauntings, maybe even for, I would say like 1920s to like the 1970s, I feel like there's some pretty like horrific history behind some of these hauntings that we, have come to know and explore so well.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree.
Have you ever been to Tombstone?
No, never been to Tombstone.
I want to go so bad. I'm like, I want to see somebody who's been to Tombstone, because we honestly are trying to like book a trip to Tombstone strictly to go to, I think it's called the Birdcage.
Oh, that would be so cool. If you go, let me know how it goes.
Yes, yes. How far are you from Tombstone? Is it far or is it drivable?
I, is it in Nevada
I
or
don't
California? I'm sorry.
Let me see. It's in Arizona. Uh,
mm,
I'm so bad with geography, so I'm like, oh yeah,
no,
so
it's
that's
okay.
pretty
Me too, girl.
far. So that's
Huh?
like, yeah, I guess it's at the bottom of like, I don't know why I just always assume that like because you always hear like Nevada, Arizona, New Mexico, like they're all in that cluster, but I guess I didn't realize how far it kind of spreads. So yeah, so it looks like it's about 13 hours. So it's a full
Yeah,
on.
that's a drive.
Yeah. Um but I was watching I was watching a couple of shows and then a couple of YouTubers because we went down a whole rabbit hole. My husband's super into like the Wild West, and he was like telling me, I was very shocked, honestly, and a little proud of my husband because he's not like the ghost guy. And he was like, oh, he's like, selling point. He's like, let's go to Tombstone, Arizona. He's like, look at all this stuff, and he's like, the Wild West, and there was these people, and they like did a duel and they shot each other, and there's like a brothel in there with all this activity. And I was like, all right. I was like, you got me at ghosts. So like let's look into this. And it's spooky. You have to look it up on YouTube because that place at night, it you don't even have to be there. Just watching it on camera, when somewhere is like so palpable that you can even on camera, you can see the energy shift. It is like just watching it from a camera, like I'm like, I don't even feel safe in my living room. I'm like,
Oh,
this looks
shoot.
scary as hell. Yeah.
I have to check it out because that sounds like fun. If I go to sometime, I'll let you know because that definitely sounds cool.
Yeah, and you can apparently stay. I was like, I don't know if I'm that brazen because especially like seeing stuff and feeling stuff, I'm like, I have my limitations too. And he was like, well, we could stay. Like they have somewhere where you can actually stay in like an old, I guess they took like, it almost reminds me of like Bates Motel. Like it's like a single row of like hotel rooms. And,
Really?
and I was like,
Wow.
honey, I'm like, this is how every horror movie starts. I'm like, you check into the sketchy, isolated hotel in the middle of the desert. I'm like, that's a red flag.
Oh,
So yeah,
man.
but that's really cool. So tell me more about some of your experiences or some maybe just some stuff that you've learned from paranormal investigating that maybe I always like getting people's kind of hot takes, like things that we like always see in the ghost shows and all these things versus, fact versus fiction. Give me the lowdown on, what it's like being on a paranormal team and some of the things that you've learned to be true that maybe you never thought about or, anything.
Okay. When I was on the paranormal team in Vegas and also in Gettysburg, I always learned to, and this is something that I probably should have done more often, is always go before you even go and protect yourself because
Yeah.
you never know what type of entity or spirit, it could be good, it could be demonic, that you're going to be dealing with. And some of the investigations I've done, I are really scary. Like I don't ever want to go back to doing like anything demonic or anything in that manner because it scared the hell out of me. I'm to be real.
Yeah.
Um, but what I've learned is just always protect yourself. Um, Make sure that you have the proper equipment, like a spirit box, the EVP, um, dowsing rods, and all that stuff when you go on investigation and stuff, and always try to be respectful. And because sometimes like some of the investigators don't take it seriously, I'm like, hey, be respectful, that person has passed away.
Yeah.
So, and things like that. That's pretty much I've learned, just always protect yourself, be respectful, and things like that.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So, kind of touching upon a heavier topic, you touched upon the D word. So, what were your experiences there if you're okay talking about it that you experienced in your time in investigating that made you kind of go, "Oh hell no. Like we're not doing this again."
Sorry, my cat wants to be on here.
Hey,
Say
kitty.
hi.
Oh, we're animal
um,
friendly. I closed my door, otherwise both my labs would be like up on my desk right now.
Come on. I closed my door and I didn't realize she was in here. She kind of snuck by. I was like, okay.
Oh,
Um,
it's okay.
I'm trying to think. Does it have to be like a paranormal? Can it be like a personable one?
Yeah, no, anything. Anything.
Okay. Um, well, demonic wise, I was probably about 14. Me and my sisters and my best friend, I wanted to be like a witch so bad because I saw the craft and just being, not really thinking, being stupid. Sitting there with my friends, we were like meditating like this, and we heard this big like swoosh sound. It was not normal. It was not raining. It was not windy. it wasn't snowing. It was really scary. We all opened our eyes. We screamed and we went to my mom. And she's like, "I told you not to be doing that stuff." And whatever it was that day, it I think it opened up like a portal, and whatever it was, it attached itself to me for really a long time, from the time I was 14 until probably about 10 years ago. I had a cleansing, and I had two entities on me and got them both off. That was a experience. Um, but when you have an entity on you, they're really nasty. Um, they make you sick a lot. They're not pleasant at all, and they make you definitely like a different person. Like, I look back at pictures and I'm like, wow, that doesn't even look like me from like 15 years ago.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Um, but it was definitely different, and it was definitely an experience, and I was young and dumb, and I didn't know any better, and I should have protected myself, and I did that, and ended up opening up a whole nother portal to a whole nother world, and I was like, oh man. So
Yeah.
whatever it was, it attached itself to me for like a long time. So, and it was scary because I would do things that I don't remember doing that were not normal. Like, my sisters were acting weird. I'm like, this is not normal at all.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. So do you mind me asking, just because I love to get feedback from everybody that comes on the podcast, what is your religious beliefs, if you have any?
Um, Spiritual.
Okay. So when think of when your time comes, what do you think happens to us?
That's a really good question. I just feel like I want to say kind of like reincarnated into something else. And I feel like you were put on this life for a purpose, and maybe you didn't finish something in your past life. So, um, yeah, that's how I feel as
Okay.
kind of like
Okay.
reincarnated, I guess, into something else.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever done like a past life regression or anything like that?
Um, yes and no. I had somebody do like a channeling, and then sometimes I've never really have done one, but I've always wanted to. But I get like a lot of visions of different places and something that I'm really attracted to, and it's like, okay. Um, but I was a gypsy in a past life, and oh, she gets nasty sometimes when she comes out.
Yeah,
Oh,
that's pretty cool. So how did you figure that out?
when I was really little, I used to speak in a different language, and my mom used to yell at me all the time. She's like, "Jesse, you don't speak in that language." I said, "I don't know what I'm saying." It just comes naturally. And I used to speak that language all the time when I was little, up until I still do once in a while. And come to find out, um, I have a past life gypsy. Her name is Eliza, and she was, I guess, abandoned on a road and left there to die. And I don't really know much about her. And then when she comes out, she like speaks in a different language, and I have to keep reminding her, like, "Hey, this is my life. This is not yours," so to
Yeah.
speak.
So
But
have you ever explored a way to help her move on and, you know, kind of reclaim your space?
I would do meditation, and she like actually would show me like her past life of what happened to her, and I said, "Oh, I'm really sorry," but just basically through meditation. That's about it.
Yeah. Awesome. Awesome. Um so I guess do you like horror movies? Like what kind of spooky stuff are you into?
Oh yes, I
Besides,
love horror movies
ghosts?
and spooky stuff.
Yeah, so I guess you're excited for the upcoming Halloween season.
Yes, for sure. I cannot wait. I'm really excited.
Do you have anything like fun planned?
I would actually, me and my girlfriend are probably going to go back to Pennsylvania to visit family and friends.
Cool.
So, my birthday is the day after Halloween.
Oh, that's so
So,
much fun.
yes, like when I was growing up, it was always like Halloween parties and birthday parties. I'm like, yes.
That's the best
So,
kind of birthday.
Oh yeah, but I'm definitely excited. Love all kinds of horror movies. Um, just saw the new Beetlejuice. Actually, it wasn't that bad, surprisingly.
I had like mixed feelings about it. I feel like the new Beetlejuice was it wasn't too modern that it was tacky, so I did enjoy that. I was glad because I feel like movies nowadays they try so hard to be relevant that they forget the reason why they're making the movie or like the plot of the movie, if that kind of makes sense. So
Yeah,
like I was worried, but I had faith in Tim Burton because I feel like everything he touches turns to gold. So I was like, okay, I've never seen anything from Tim Burton that I didn't like. So I knew it was going to be good. I think I was just a little disappointed because I feel like when something started to like without giving it away, when something started to kind of develop and I'm like, "Ooh, this is going in a good direction." It kind of fell flat. And I was like, so I had mixed feelings about it. I felt like it was like a 7.5 out of 10, and for the majority I'll probably watch it again. It'll be like a Halloween staple, but I just wished there were some aspects of it where they would have taken it a little further and developed like two solid plots instead of branching off into like a couple different directions.
yeah. It
But
wasn't.
yeah, but I thought it was pretty interesting. Um, I was just again just to be a kid in the movie theaters, like watching Beetlejuice was really fun. I feel like
Yes, I
the
agree.
adults are like bigger kids than the kids that were there.
For sure.
Um, but yeah, so as far as Halloween goes, do you have any like fun Halloween traditions that you like to do every year?
I try to like go out of, or I wish to say go out of town, but try to dress up or see the parades and stuff. I got to do that last year. It was fun. When it was my family and we saw the parade and stuff, and everybody dressed up. And every Halloween, I try to like just do something fun, like if it's just going out of town, dressing up, or going to parades and stuff. So
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. Very cool. So kind of going back to being on an investigation team. So I forgot, did you say you're still part of an investigation team or um are you kind of pausing on that right now? Have you guys had any recent cases?
I haven't done one in a while. My team from Las Vegas, they kind of just drifted off, and they're not really a team much anymore. Unfortunately, they all ended up moving away or have families
Yeah.
now. I'm like, it sucks because
Yeah.
it's
Have
like
you ever
when
thought
you
about
need a.
starting your own?
I was thinking about it, but it's just a lot of work, and it's
Yeah.
hard to find like people that are into that out here or reliable, you know. But I would love to start my own team though, and have people that are pretty much in the same interest as you are, as myself. Sorry, my cat's howling, so if you hear, I apologize. She has really
No.
bad separation anxiety,
Oh, you're
so
totally fine. You're totally fine.
okay.
I know we're kind of going on a half hour here, so we only have a little bit longer. But I I think it would be for all of our ghoul friend listeners, if you're in the Nevada area, and you're looking to start a paranormal team or have one that maybe Jess could be a part of, definitely reach out. If you want to give them a shout on some of your social media handles, just I think it's a great way to connect via social media, just kind of network. And there may be other people out there that maybe you can kind of join forces with because it seems like it was a passion and, it seems like you were good at it. So you should definitely, if it's something that you love, get back into it.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Yeah, for sure. I definitely would like to get back into it again and just find the right people and, you know, or maybe even just like start my own team, like you said, and just maybe try to find good people.
Yeah, and listen, it may take time, but I mean, if you believe in it and it's something that you really love, patience is a virtue. So, the right people, if you just do what you love, the right things will follow. And I truly believe that. So, I would say if you want to do it, my favorite saying in life is if you want something done right, do it yourself. And so you can start your own paranormal team, you can run it, how you want it, and you can find people that gravitate and fit, perfectly into your puzzle.
Oh yeah, for sure.
So yeah. But yeah, so is there any other spooky stories that you kind of want to share with us before we kind of wrap things up?
Yes, actually, there was one in Gettysburg I forgot to mention that did happen um, many years ago. I was out with some friends, and we were in the cemetery in Gettysburg. And my friend was goofing around, and next thing you know, he lifts up his shirt and he got scratched. I was like, oh my goodness. And then we ended up just leaving, and that was that. That was one experience. And there was another experience where we were heading towards it was either heading towards Gettysburg or coming back. I don't remember because it was so long ago. It was like 15 years ago, 20 years ago. And there was a woman out there smoking a cigarette, like dressed in, I want to say, like, I don't know, it was really bizarre. It's not something you would see. It was like 1800s era, 1900s. And she was outside just kind of hanging out, smoking a cigarette. And then I looked back and she was gone. So I don't know if that was like a spirit I saw or a ghost or something, but it was definitely different.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There's a really cool TikTok. Oh gosh, is it ghost? I think it's Ghostly Images of Gettysburg on TikTok. I don't know if you already follow them, but I believe the one guy, I don't know if it's one guy on TikTok that runs it or if it's a couple people. He has a TikTok that he does lives on, and he lives in the orphanage because they ended up doing major renovations. They turned the upstairs, I think, into apartments. The downstairs, they have like I think it's like excuse me. I think it's like a common area. So like it's really cool to see the inside now. Obviously it has a super heinous history and it's terrible, but they're doing a lot more investigations now, and I think it's really neat to watch his lives because it's not just the orphanage, but when he goes out and does walking tours or they do other stuff, he does all these lives and kind of takes you around Gettysburg with him, so it's really cool to watch.
I'll have to check it out.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
so cool.
absolutely. I'll find his link and then I will send it to you on Threads or Instagram or whatever, and then maybe you can catch. He probably is doing one live tonight, honestly, since like spooky season's starting. Um, but yeah, it's really neat, and I think the areas that you have lived in and have experienced are really cool. So last two things kind of before we wrap up. What is your favorite piece of paranormal equipment that you use on investigations?
Stop. Probably I want to say the spirit box, definitely,
Okay.
because you can. Because sometimes when they come on, they want to talk, and it's definitely interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. And then the last thing is, what advice would you give to a younger, um, you know, our younger generation, I guess I should say, who wants to or has like an interest in paranormal investigation?
Is always to protect yourself, be respectful, and don't ever be afraid to mess up.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing a little bit about you in the spooky side, and chatting for a little bit. I've really enjoyed it, and I'd love, you can always join us again. Come on, maybe we can do a fun spooky season Q&A, or just hop on and maybe use the spirit box for a little bit, but something fun. We'll definitely have to get together.
Oh yeah, that sounds like fun. Let me know. Keep in touch.
Okay, awesome. Well, I hope everybody enjoyed our little mini-sode tonight on Friday, the 13th. Speaking of which, I hope everybody is having a super unlucky day. Just kidding. I hope everybody's having a good luck.
Yeah.
Friday the 13th, like contrary to popular belief, is actually a pretty lucky day. It's probably one of my favorite days of the year. And so I hope you guys are all having the best luck in the world, and we will see you on the next episode. But yeah, thanks so much again, Jess.
Thank you. You guys have a good one.
Yes, you too.
Bye.